Sometimes pain arrives without warning. It enters the heart quietly, yet it shakes everything inside. You didn't invite it. You didn't prepare for it. And in that moment, the heart asks, Ya Allah, what did I do wrong? But there is a truth we often miss in our suffering. Not every pain is punishment, and not every hardship is anger. Some pain is an invitation. When Allah wants a servant to return to Him, He does not always speak through ease. Comfort can make us forgetful. Stability can make us distant. But pain awakens the heart. It strips away distractions and leaves the soul exposed, honest and desperate for Him. The tears that fall in the silence of the night, the dua whispered when no one else is listening, this is where closeness begins. If this pain has forced you to slow down, to reflect, to fall into sujood with a heart that is finally present, then ask yourself, how can this be an enemy? Perhaps Allah is gently saying, come closer, lay your burden at my door. You do not have to carry this alone. Allah softens the heart through breaking it, not to destroy you, but to empty you of what was weighing you down. What is being taken from you may have been blocking your growth, and what you are being given, even if it feels like sorrow, may be carrying a gift of nearness you never experienced before. So if you are hurting right now, do not run from it. Do not harden your heart against it. Pause, listen. Stand at this door, because this pain may not be here to break you. It may be here because Allah is asking you to enter. Many people live their entire lives believing that pain is a sign of Allah's displeasure. The moment hardship enters, the heart immediately assumes guilt. Allah must be angry with me. But this assumption itself often comes from a misunderstanding of who Allah truly is. Allah is Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, more merciful to His servant than a mother is to her child. When we understand this, our relationship with pain begins to change. Pain in Islam is not always a consequence of sin. Some of the most beloved people to Allah were tested in ways that would break the strongest of hearts. The Prophet faced loss, rejection, hunger, and grief, yet he was the most beloved to Allah. If pain were proof of punishment, the most honored souls would have lived the easiest lives. But Allah chose hardship for them, because hardship carries depth, sincerity, and return. Sometimes Allah allows pain not to push us away, but to pull us closer. When life is smooth, dua becomes rushed, salah becomes routine, and remembrance becomes casual. But when pain arrives, the heart suddenly speaks honestly. We cry in sajda. We call upon Allah with urgency. We feel our need for Him in a way comfort never taught us. This is not distance, this is nearness. Allah knows what our hearts need before we do. He knows when the heart has become attached to something that is not Him, whether it is a person, a plan, or a version of life we insisted on controlling. So He gently loosens that grip. It hurts, yes, but it frees the heart. The pain is not meant to destroy us, it is meant to empty us of false reliance so we can be filled with true tawakkul. When Allah invites a servant back, He does not always use words. He uses circumstances. He closes doors that we were begging to keep open. He allows discomfort where we thought stability was guaranteed. And in that discomfort, He waits for us to turn back, not in anger, but in humility, not demanding answers, but seeking closeness. So when pain enters your life, pause before labeling it as punishment. Ask instead, Ya Allah, what are you calling me toward? Because sometimes pain is the doorway through which the heart finally returns to its Creator. Hardship has a way of shaking the heart awake when comfort slowly puts it to sleep. When life is easy, we often don't notice how distant we've become. Salah is performed, but the heart is elsewhere. Dua is made, but without urgency. Dhikr exists on the tongue, yet the soul feels untouched. Comfort can quietly numb the heart, and without realizing it, we begin to rely more on our routines than on Allah Himself. When hardship arrives, that numbness breaks. Suddenly the heart feels again. Pain removes the noise of the dunya and forces us to confront our reality. We realize how fragile we truly are, how little control we actually have. And in that realization, sincerity is born. The heart that was once distracted now turns fully toward Allah, not out of habit but out of need. Allah allows difficulty because He knows what awakens the soul. A heart that never struggles may never taste humility. A life without trials may never learn complete dependence on its Creator. Hardship teaches us to say, Ya Allah, with honesty, with tears, with full presence. It strips away pride and replaces it with surrender. In moments of pain, dua changes. We stop asking for small things and begin asking for what truly matters: peace, guidance, closeness, and strength. Sajda becomes longer, not because we were told to, but because we are afraid to stand back up without Allah's help. This is not weakness, this is awakening. Hardship also teaches us perspective. It reveals what truly holds value and what never deserved our attachment. Things we once thought essential suddenly feel secondary when the heart is seeking relief only Allah can give. In this way, trials purify our priorities and realign our direction. So when comfort fades and hardship takes its place, do not assume something has gone wrong. Sometimes Allah removes ease because ease made the heart sleep. And sometimes He allows hardship because He wants the heart fully awake, alive, and aware of the one it was always meant to rely on. Allah does not draw His servants closer through hardship because He wants to see them suffer. He does so because closeness to Him is the greatest gift a heart can receive, and sometimes the heart will not move toward that gift unless it is shaken. Trials are not a sign of abandonment, they are often a sign of divine attention. When Allah loves a servant, He wants that servant's heart to belong fully to Him. Yet the heart is easily distracted. It becomes attached to people, outcomes, and expectations, so Allah, in His wisdom, allows a trial to enter, not to break the servant, but to redirect the heart. What once felt essential suddenly feels uncertain. And in that uncertainty, the heart begins to search for something stable. It searches for Allah. Hardship teaches the heart where true security lies. People may leave, plans may collapse, and strength may fade. But Allah remains constant through trials. Allah shows the servant that reliance on anything other than Him will always fall short. This realization is not learned in comfort, it is learned in need. In difficulty, the servant begins to speak to Allah differently. There is less formality and more honesty. The heart opens in ways it never did before. Tears fall without embarrassment. Dua is no longer recited, it is poured out. And in that raw connection, closeness is formed. Allah does not measure nearness by ease, He measures it by return. Each time the servant turns back, broken yet hopeful, Allah draws nearer with mercy. The pain becomes a bridge, not a barrier, a means through which the heart finally settles where it always belonged. So if a trial has brought you closer to Allah, if it has softened your heart, increased your dua, and deepened your dependence, then know that this hardship is not pushing you away. It is carrying you toward the one who never let go of you. Often the most painful part of a trial is not the suffering itself, but the feeling of loss. Something you loved, trusted, or depended on is taken away, and the heart resists with all its strength. We ask Allah why this had to happen, unaware that what is leaving may have been standing between our hearts and true growth. Allah, in His mercy, removes what weighs the soul down, even when the heart cannot yet understand it. We grow attached to what feels familiar: people, plans, identities, and dreams we carefully build. Over time, these attachments quietly become sources of reliance. Without realizing it, the heart begins to feel secure because of them, not because of Allah. When that happens, Allah gently intervenes. He does not always warn us first. He simply loosens the grip of what we were holding too tightly. And yes, that release hurts. But Allah never takes something without wisdom. What He removes is not always good for Akhirah, even if it felt good for our dunya. Sometimes what leaves was limiting our growth, keeping us small, or distracting us from who we were meant to become. The pain of losing it is real, but the freedom that follows is often unseen at first. Allah knows the capacity of your heart. He knows when it has outgrown a situation, a person, or a chapter of life, even if you are still emotionally attached to it. So He creates distance, not to punish you, but to protect you from staying where you no longer belong. The heart may mourn, but the soul quietly begins to breathe again. Spiritual growth often requires space. Space to reflect, to rely, to rebuild with intention. What was removed may have been filling that space incorrectly, and once it is gone, Allah begins to replace it. Not always immediately, and not always in the way you expect, but always in a way that serves your deeper good. So when something is taken from your life and you cannot understand why, trust that Allah sees what you could not. He saw the weight it carried on your heart. He saw how it was shaping you, and He chose with mercy to free you from it. Loss in this sense is not emptiness, it is preparation. Real healing does not begin when life becomes easy again. It begins when the heart finally turns back to Allah with honesty and surrender. As long as the heart is running, chasing answers, blaming circumstances, or relying on its own strength, peace remains distant. But the moment the heart pauses and returns to Allah, something shifts within, even if the pain itself has not yet disappeared. Turning back to Allah does not require perfect words or complete understanding. It requires presence. It is the heart saying, "Ya Allah, I cannot carry this alone anymore." In that admission of weakness, strength is born. Allah does not expect the servant to arrive healed. He asks the servant to arrive willing. Often we think healing means the removal of pain, but Allah teaches us that healing is the ability to breathe through it with faith. When the heart reconnects with its Creator, it finds stability even in uncertainty. The problem may remain, but the soul is no longer drowning inside it. This is the mercy of return. Allah welcomes the servant back every time, regardless of how distant they may feel. There is no humiliation in returning to Allah broken. That brokenness is beloved. It is a sign that the heart is still alive, still seeking, still hopeful. Allah does not turn away from the heart that turns toward Him, even if it comes trembling. Through return, priorities realign. The heart stops demanding immediate answers and begins trusting divine timing. Dua becomes less about control and more about connection. Sajda becomes a place of rest, not just obligation. This is where healing deepens, quietly, gently, and steadily. So if you are searching for relief, begin by returning. Not when you feel strong, but especially when you feel weak. Because true healing is not found at the end of the struggle. It begins the moment the heart turns back to Allah and allows Him to carry what it never could.